Hi everyone. I know it's been a minute since I've put out a video, and the reason is because I've been out of town. And while I was out of town visiting some family, I was looking at some old artwork that I had made, around 13 years ago. I have this black pastel drawing that I will be recreating today. So a little bit about the materials that I'm using. I have this 11 by 14 Strathmore heavyweight drawing paper. It's not exactly for charcoal and pastel, but I like it for that. And it gets a little bit dusty, but nothing that you can't, blow or brush away. So I'm actually using a CRETA color, I think that's how you say it, CRETA color, black lead chalk. That's what they call it. And I've heard it's the blackest version of pastel, I guess you could say. So I haven't used this but one other time, and I thought it would be great for this drawing because the original drawing is very dark, and because it was used with black pastel, it's very black. So I wanted to see how this particular little lead chalk I don't want to call it the wrong thing because it's its own thing, but it's a black lead chalk compared to the black pastel. And the other things I'll be comparing in this video will be the original drawing is actually going to be shown at the end. So while I'm recreating it, I'm trying to really stick to the original proportions, and the composition is slightly changed only in the angle of the way it is situated on the paper. But other than that, I was trying to keep it as close to the original idea as possible. So for instance, the expression is very I guess you could say plain. There's not a whole lot of expression going on. Eyes are looking forward, face is facing front. There's not a lot of variation. Like, a lot of my portraits, I like to make the eyes looking a different direction, or the face slightly at a more of a 3/4 angle. But in a lot of my older drawings, they were just solid, straight, front facing, no expression, very flat, not a lot of dimension. But what I did notice that I liked better about my older drawings, and this is something that I really can't help these days, but everything is extremely symmetrical and very, very straight. So a lot more lined up. I didn't struggle as much with things like that back then. And not gonna lie, I felt a little bit sad about that, just because things just seemed to be so easy. But I was excited to put a lot of my newer skill knowledge to an older drawing and see if I can get a little bit more life and dimension. So that is what I'm attempting here. As you can see, I'm just figuring out what other tools I'm going to need, and realizing that I should probably pull out a charcoal pencil to do some of the smaller details around the eyes and things like that, because the CRETA color black lead chalk is very blunt and it doesn't sharpen very easily, and it's super crumbly. So when you first get it, it's got a point to it, and that's like really fun for about 10 minutes. And then from there on out, you've got like kind of a rounded, blunt end of this, piece of chalk here. So if you want to get any more detail, you have to kind of figure out a different finishing tool, like erasers and this pencil. So I will be using those items in the finishing portions of this drawing, especially with black chalk on white paper. Erasers become more of a drawing tool than an erasing tool, which I have learned over time is kind of more what I'm using them for. So one of the aspects to this piece was that she was laying on some furniture, so like a animal printed couch or fluffy chair or something like that. So you don't really get to see the details of the piece of furniture except that her head is laying against it. And it was like, I guess the original idea was like animal print, something similar to that, just a made up abstract version of animal print. So I guess I maybe back then just didn't really feel like copying leopard spots or zebra stripes, and I just kind of gave my own little interpretation of some type of organic abstract animal markings of some kind. So I'm kind of going through and erasing out some parts over that black print to indicate hair. And yeah, that was the original idea. And that was something I really wanted to capture in the redo of this drawing. So this drawing's actually hanging up in the spare room that I stay in when I go to visit my family, and it's been professionally framed, which I found that out when I tried to switch the frame out and I wanted to put my Amy Winehouse drawing in it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to take out this old drawing. I don't really like it that much. And I flipped it over and saw that it was had been permanently framed, and what that looks like is professional framers will take some either framing tape or some type of clear sealant tape, and once it's been mounted and put in the frame with the matting, then around the edge on the back, it is pretty much taped shut. So sometimes people will use a like a paper cover and staples and different various ways of sealing a piece of artwork inside of a frame. But yeah, that's so here we are at the end. I'm taking the tape off, and I wanted to kind of recreate the matted look of that original drawing in the frame. So I did tape it off, plus charcoal or this black lead chalk. It gets very messy, so I wanted to have an edge to kind of grab onto it and make sure I didn't get any fingerprints. But I went underneath that tape by accident while I was drawing, and I'm gonna go in here in a second and erase that little side off and clean it up. So this is my recreation of the original drawing up here in a second, and you'll be able to see there's a little bit more dimension to this one. And although it's laying a little bit more flatter than the original drawing, I think she looks more like she's laying on a couch than the original one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend enjoying your summer.